Hey guys, welcome to Chapter 1, Sections 3 and 4. So we're not doing too much on Section 4, so I'm grouping them together. And then at the very end of this presentation will be your study guide, which is pretty much just a list of terms that you would want to know well in order to be ready for your test. So let's get started with the pre-test questions. The human population is growing at a steady rate, true or false? This would be false. People like to make babies. We'll talk about that. Affluence or wealth has only harmful environmental effects. True or false? This is false as well, and we'll talk about that. A human-centered worldview states that humans, as the owners of the earth, can treat resources as they see fit. This is true. This is not maybe the best way to view things, but this is how way too many people have been viewing things for way too long. People with differing environmental worldviews may view the same data about environmental issues, but draw different conclusions about how to best act in response to that data. That is very true. So we'll talk about that as well. All right. Move me up a little bit. So Section 1, or Chapter 1, Section 3, what causes environmental problems and why do they persist? Environmental and social scientists have identified 5 basic causes of the environmental problems society faces. That's it, just 5 things. We just need to fix these and we're good. Population growth, unsustainable resource use, poverty, lack of full cost pricing for goods and services, and increasing isolation from nature. Some of these are definitely easier to fix than others. So human population growing at a rapid rate. We are growing crazy fast. 2015, we were at 7.3 billion. I think now we're at 7.5, maybe 7.6 billion. More than 89 million people are added each year. By 2050, they're projecting us to be about 9.8 billion. Slowing the population curve could limit severe environmental degradation. The more people we have, the more resources we are using, and the more waste we're producing. So less people, less stuff. We want to aim to level off at about 8 billion by 2050. We want to promote economic development, family planning, and elevated status for women. As we will talk about this year, if we let women learn things and have jobs and stuff, the world is a better place. So exponential growth of human population. I'm going to move me down here. Exponential growth. So you can see over all of the history of man, we had less than a million people. And then not too far away, less than a billion people. And then we had 2 billion, and then 3 billion, and then 4 billion, and then 5 billion. And since I've started teaching, we've had 6 billion and 7 billion, and I will be teaching when we reach 8 billion. So are we going to stop at 8? Are we going to go to 10? Are we going to go higher? What is going to happen? Stay tuned. Affluence can have both negative and positive environmental impacts. So affluence, once again, is money, how much money you have. Rich people. So high levels of consumption and waste of resources. And I mentioned that in the last video as well. More air pollution, more water pollution, and more land degradation. If they want to go to Paris for lunch, they fly to Paris for lunch. That's a lot of use of things. If they want to knock down a forest to build a 3rd tennis court, they knock down a forest to build a 3rd tennis court. Acquisition of resources without regard for or awareness of the environmental effect of consuming them. They want something, they get it. That's about it. You hear about famous people having crazy pets that they shouldn't be having, like a tiger. That would be an example. Affluence can have positive environmental impacts as well. One, usually if you have more money, you have access to education. Hopefully everyone has access to education, but definitely if you've got money, college education is a little bit easier. They can help fund scientific research. Bill Gates does this. He finds issues that are going on and he goes, I'll give $1 million to whoever solves this problem. So he's helped solve a whole bunch of problems. And then technological solutions resulting in improvements in environmental quality. So for example, helping to fund things that would get us safe drinking water would be super nifty. Poverty can have harmful environmental and health effects, and we will be talking about this year as well. So harmful effects, short-term requirements for survival can lead to degraded forests, topsoil, grassland, fisheries, and wildlife populations. A lot of the rainforest in Africa is being taken down to make farmlands. So, or people need to heat their homes. So they cut down trees to heat their homes, but the rainforest is going away. And then we have health effects, things like malnutrition, limited access to sanitation, and clean drinking water, outdoor and indoor air pollution are all things that are going to be an issue. Indoor air pollution, if you're burning wood for heat and or to cook your home, or in some places you burn dried animal poop, you're breathing all that in. That's not healthy. Prices of goods and services rarely include their harmful environmental or health costs. So most people have no clue of the damage caused by their consumption due to lack of full cost pricing. I will talk about subsidies a lot this year. Subsidies are money that the government gives to certain people or companies to make their products cheaper than they really are, so people buy them. So yay, people are buying your products, but people aren't buying them responsibly, and people aren't using them responsibly because we tend to think if something is super cheap, it's easy, it's good, it's not bad, and so people tend to use a lot more of it. Current government subsidies often increase environmental degradation. So one thing that we could do is change subsidies to help promote sustainability. If we tax more pollution and waste, which should be a given, and then shift from environmentally harmful, for example, the $6 billion of taxpayer money that goes to subsidize fossil fuels every year, and shift even some of that over to the environmentally beneficial subsidies. Can you imagine what we could do with $6 billion worth of energy if we put it into renewable energy? Oh, it would be awesome. People are also increasingly isolated from nature. And many times this year, you'll hear me say, your homework is to go outside and just be outside. Enjoy it. More than half the world's population lives in urban areas. Technology, cell phones, computers, add to isolation from nature. You guys are either looking at your cell phones, or you're playing video games, or you're watching TV, or you're on your computer. Go outside. It actually can cause something called nature deficit disorder, which causes stress, anxiety, and depression. And I don't know about you, but when I was a teenager, I dealt with stress, anxiety, and depression. So get your butt outside. Benefits of getting outside: you can get exercise, you can have improved health, brain function, creativity, and sense of wonder. Go for a walk, go to a park, just be outside. This was one of the pre-test questions. People have different views about environmental problems and solutions. So people have what's called an environmental worldview. And this is your set of assumptions and values that reflect how one thinks the world works and what one's role in it should be. So some of the questions are: why should we care about the environment? Are humans the most important? Do we have to protect Earth for future generations? Should everyone live more sustainably? Now, I'm sure all of you have a very definite answer for those, but not everyone in the class probably has the same definite answer for those. So 3 major types of worldviews. Number 1, human-centered. This means the natural world is a support system for human life, and it's divided into planetary and stewardship worldviews, but pretty much the Earth is here to support us. Life-centered means all species have value, even if it's not valuable to humans, and they should be protected from extinction. So this is saving all life, not even the non-cute and cuddly ones. If it's on this planet, we should save it. And then we have Earth-centered, and this says that humans are part of and dependent on nature. So these people look to nature for ways to think and act. They make their decisions on their life and what they use and create based off of nature. All right, you survived section 3. Let's see these post-test questions. A life-centered worldview is, hey, we just did this, guys, is particularly concerned with which of the following? A, finding more effective ways to manage Earth as a life support system for human life. B, learning how life on Earth has sustained itself for billions of years. C, avoiding human activities that may hasten the extinction of other species. D, identifying and protecting species that can contribute to human survival. And E, understanding how people are part of and depend on nature. So we were looking at C, avoiding human activities that may hasten the extinction of other species. We want to keep stuff around. How does full cost pricing help create economic sustainability? Reduces ecological footprints to create an ecological deficit. B, it is an effective way to prevent unbalanced affluence. C, reflects the true environmental cost of goods and services. D, allows people to find sustainable low-cost products. Or E, provides subsidies to help companies be environmentally friendly. The answer is C, reflects the true environmental cost of goods and services. The idea that people are part of and dependent on nature represents A, a human-centered environmental worldview, B, an earth-centered environmental worldview, C, a life-centered environmental worldview, D, a planetary management environmental worldview, and E, a stewardship environmental worldview. So if people are part of and depend on it, we are looking at an earth-centered environmental worldview. Which of the following is not a result of affluence that is harmful to the environment? Higher levels of per capita resource consumption, increased access to products from other parts of the world, expanded per capita ecological footprint, lower quality of life, or lower birth rates. So the only thing there that is not bad for the environment is lower birth rates because you're making less babies. People are figuring out, and we'll talk about this later this year, that babies are really expensive. I've got one right now. And so people are making less babies because they cost a lot. All right, 1.4, we're going to go through this quickly. I'm going to skip over some stuff, but I'm going to focus on the stuff I definitely want you guys to know. So, what is an environmentally sustainable society? In order to live sustainably, one must live off the natural resources without depleting or degrading the natural capital that supplies these natural resources. So, in the past, we've had conservation efforts. People have started to say, hey, we need to put public lands aside and maybe don't use them. And then Silent Spring by Rachel Carson came out, and people were like, hey, maybe we should save the environment. We have public demands from America. We had our first Earth Day back in 1970. The EPA was founded that year. Many laws were passed to help the environment out, and establishment of various environmental groups, college courses on environmental issues. And we've got those right here at Southport as well. In the 80s and after, there was a backlash. People wanted to make a mess. Corporations and some lawmakers seek to weaken environmental laws. We've had a whole bunch weakened lately. And calls for the United States to once again take a lead on environmental issues. So they're like, hey, you're the leader of the free world. Start acting like it. We want an environmentally sustainable society, not only in our country, but on our planet. Natural income is the portion of renewable resources that can be used sustainably. Think of this like living only on cash. If everything you needed you could pay with cash, and you never had to use a credit card, you would never go into debt. So if you can't afford to pay for something with cash, you shouldn't buy it. If you can't access it easily through natural income, you shouldn't be using whatever it is. By living only on Earth's natural income and not depleting the natural capital, society will move from an unsustainable lifestyle to a sustainable one. So once again, I'll relate this to using cash. If you have enough cash to buy what you need, then you're good and you'll never be in debt. If you're using credit card after credit card after credit card, you're going to be in debt, and at some point you're going to have to pay that back. So try to do the cash only way. A more sustainable future is possible. Given enough time, most degraded environments can recover, but many are going to take hundreds, if not thousands of years to recover. So that's the bad part. Time is our most sacred resource. Here's the good news. Only 5 to 10% of a population that changes can make a difference. Guys, you make up 5 to 10% of our population. You guys make the difference. We can get a change going. Changes are also, we're noticing, can occur in a much shorter time than previously thought, and we are still seeing the results. So if we can start making changes for the good, we can kind of snowball that effect into a better future. All right, this is your study guide, so I might pause the screen or screenshot this screen. I'll make a pretty face. These are the terms you're going to need to know I would be able to define these terms, I'd be able to explain these terms and apply these concepts. This is what you will definitely want to focus your studying on to be ready for the test. All right, you have survived all of the notes for chapter 1, one down, a couple more to go. Talk to you guys later.